Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. I'm super excited to introduce you to our topic this term. So instead of doing geography this term, we're going back to history. So we did have a look at history before Christmas when we learned all about Huntley and Palmer, but I'm really excited that we're going to be learning about explorers this term, and it's one of my favorites. We've got some great explorers to teach you about. So we're going to get started with some just checking. So I'm going to read, I only have two questions for you today. I have one from last term and one from last unit. And both of them I think you'll be able to answer quite well. And so I'm going to read you the question, and I want you to pause the video and see if you can write the answer down on a piece of paper and share it with me. So last term, our town is called, what is the name of our town? Can you write that down? So put number 1 and then write the name of our town, please. Fantastic. And then from last unit, Reading had a very famous factory called Huntley and had two names. Huntley and what? Give you a clue if you think about the name of our school. We did talk about it last term. Reading had a very famous factory called Huntley and something. They made, and you have three choices. They made biscuits, bread, or toys. So what was made at that factory? Pause the video and have a go at writing it down. And welcome back. So we're going to take those up together so you can get a different color pen or pencil to the one that you were writing with before. So the name of our town is Reading. You got it. And make sure you have a capital letter on Reading because it's the name of our town. So it definitely needs a capital letter. And Reading had a very famous factory called Huntley and Palmer's, or Huntley and Palmer, which is why we're called the Palmer Academy. They made, you got it, biscuits. Good memory. Learned lots about that. All right, so today is our first lesson of our new unit, and we're going to be looking at comparing life then, like in the past, and now. But before we do, we need to know a little bit more about what our context is, so our explorer. So first of all, I've got two questions for you to think of and share a little bit with me on the screen. You're going to pause the video after I share them and just discuss with, if you have a learning partner at home, if you have an adult near you or a brother or a sister that can sit with you for a few minutes and just talk to you, that would be wonderful. If you don't, you can always just pause the screen and share it with me. So my two questions are, well, three questions. What is an explorer? What qualities does an explorer need to have? So that's sort of, what are they like? What's their personality like? Are they brave? Or are they really shy and scared? So have a think about what an explorer needs to be like. What qualities would they have? And how many adjectives can you think of to describe an explorer? So pause the video, have a go at having a think and sharing some of those ideas. And when we get back, we're going to talk about explorers together. Okay, so this is one of my favorite pictures, and this says the parts of an explorer. So anyone can be an explorer. We're going to learn about some really famous explorers who had some amazing adventures and learned some really great things about the world. But all of us are explorers, and we can all be explorers. So let's have a look at what an explorer needs to be like. So an explorer needs to use their eyes to read maps, to look for differences in different places and cultures. And I would say to have a think about what's the same about cultures as well. They need a curious mind. So if you can point with me, point up to your brain, top of your head where your brain is. A curious mind for asking questions about our history, our families, and the world. So explorers are always wondering. Remember we said curious. If you're curious, you like to know, you like to learn. Explorers have a mouth because we have to share our ideas and share our experiences. So we need to be able to use our words. Tools, so you can see in their hand, he has a little map, book, a compass, which we're going to talk a little bit more about when we do our mapping, and symbols about the world and people around us. So when we talked about special objects last term in RE, an explorer would be really curious. They'd recognize that that's a special object if they went somewhere and found something new. And they would say, oh, I need to investigate this object and find out about it, to know where it comes from and why it's special. Hands, explorers want to use their hands for using the tools that help us to explore the world around us. And we're really fortunate because we can use computers and we can use the internet, and we get to use a lot of different tools that early explorers wouldn't have had available to them. So we're lucky explorers. And finally, I think this is the most important quality that an explorer needs to have, and you can touch your own. They need to have a heart, because they need to be able to relate to the world and also the people around us. So we need to be sure that we're being caring about others, even if those people are different from us or live differently from us. It's important that we remember that we're all people and we have to be caring of each other and seek to understand different places and different people. So heart is really, really important for an explorer. And we're going to be talking about what makes a great explorer many, many times throughout this unit. So we'll come back to this and see it again. All right, so our great explorer we're going to start learning about for the next couple of weeks is a man named Ibn Battuta. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he was a really amazing explorer. He explored so much of the Muslim world in the Middle Ages. And I'm going to get started telling you a little story about Ibn, and then we're going to be learning more about him next week as well. So a long time ago, in a place called Morocco, a country called Morocco, a young boy was born to a family. His family's religion was Islam, and his father was a very important man in their community. He was a judge of Islamic law, and he helped to make important decisions about important matters. So this little boy's dad had a really important job. And if you have a look at the picture that I've put up here, we can see up here at the top, there's the UK, there's our island, it's yellow. And if you follow the green line all the way down, you can see Morocco is labeled. So Morocco is a country in the north of Africa. So this whole continent is Africa, which we know because we learned about the continents last term. So you can see that the journey from the UK to Morocco is actually quite a big journey to get to. As the little boy was growing up, he was very curious, which means he always wanted to learn more about the world around him. He loved exploring and asking questions. We know those are really important qualities for an explorer, aren't they? He knew when we grew up. He knew when he grew up, not when we grew up. He knew when he grew up that he wanted to travel all around the world to places far away. Of course, in the Middle Ages, so this was a long, long, long time ago. Think of the time of kings and queens and castles. That's how long ago it was. It wasn't easy to get anywhere, so it would be really difficult for him to travel and explore the world. It was a pretty important goal. So here's a lovely picture from a really good cartoon that if you like learning about Ibn Battuta, you can Google. There's a cartoon all about his life. So there's some adventure stories that you can watch, probably on YouTube, I reckon you can find it. And that's a picture of young Ibn when he was very young and he went to explore a place. So the question I want you to stop and think about now, because we know that he was a young boy, he was born in Morocco, his family was really important in their community, and he really wanted to travel and explore. So I want you to have a little think. How do people travel today? And what vehicles might they take? So how might they get there? If you wanted to go to Morocco or Africa or somewhere really far away, what might you do and how might you get there? So I want you to pause the video and have a little think and share that with the screen, because we're going to be talking about that in a bit. Welcome back. So today, people can travel by car, by train, by bus, plane, or even a boat. But in the Middle Ages, nearly everyone traveled mainly on foot, which means they had to walk. What might be different about traveling in a car and traveling on foot? So think you have to go, let's imagine this. We have to go to the shop and we're going to go to Morrison. So it's a ways up the road, but we could still walk there. And what might be different about those two journeys? If you went to Morrison's in a car, or if you went to Morrison's walking, what might be different about those journeys? Have a little think, pause the video. Okay, and welcome back. So I'm sure a lot of you said if you went in a car, the journey is going to be a lot faster because cars travel faster than on foot. You might not get as tired. It doesn't really matter if it's raining or if the weather is bad if you're traveling in a car. It's a bit of an easier journey to travel in a car. But when you're traveling on foot or you're going for a walk, you get lots of time. It might be more enjoyable. You might get to have a chat with your mom or your dad or an older brother or sister who's walking with you. You get to see things along the way. So you might get to see a bit more detail or houses. So there are some differences, but definitely traveling in a car is going to be much faster than traveling on foot. So in Ibn Battuta's time, when he was exploring, it took a really, really long time to get places because they didn't have cars or trains or buses or airplanes or the fast kind of boats that we're used to. If you were really lucky and it was really expensive, you had to have lots of money, you might get to travel on a donkey or a camel. You can see a picture of a man. And I don't think this is a really old picture. So this is actually a man riding a donkey in Africa today. So you can still travel by donkey or camel, but it was a lot faster than going on foot and you didn't get as tired. When Ibn was 21 years old, he set out on his first journey, his Hajj, which is a pilgrimage to Mecca. So it's like a big journey that you would go to and I think if you're Muslim, you still go on this journey today, or you can go on this journey today. And so you go on a really special journey to Mecca, which is the holy city. And it's really important and it's really special for your spiritual growth. So he wanted to go on this really special journey, and he did, and he loved it so much. He learned so much and he met so many people, and it was such a great experience that he wanted to go again, and he wanted to go everywhere, and he wanted to learn more. So after he went on his first trip, he was caught with the travel bug. That means he wanted to travel everywhere. And even though he was often homesick on his travels, so that means you really miss home, you miss your family or your parents, he always loved seeing new places, meeting people, and learning new languages. And he was a very, very smart man, and he learned to speak many different languages when he traveled to all these different places. So here's a picture of people gathering in the holy city of Mecca. You can still go there today. You'll have to ask and see if anyone in your family has ever taken a trip there. Over the years, he traveled across Africa in many different ways. So he traveled for about 30 years, which is a very long time. That's a little bit younger than I am. So for my whole life, he was traveling from the time I was a baby until a grown up. So a really long time to travel, much, much longer than you've been alive. And he traveled in lots of different ways. So let's explore some of the ways that he traveled. And I've attached some pictures with this page of some of the different ways that he traveled. So can you pause the video and see if you recognize any of those pictures, what those things might be? And come back, we'll talk about them. All right, I wonder if you were able to spot any of them. So in this corner up here, we can see a horse. So he traveled by horse, which is faster. Horses can go faster than donkeys and camels. They're a bit, I don't know if I can say they're a bit stronger, but they certainly can travel a bit faster. So he went on horse a lot. He also was able to travel by boat. But if you look at this boat, you can see it's a wooden boat. So the wooden boats, the boats that they had in the Middle Ages, worked similarly to the boats that we have today, but the boats we have today are made of metal, and they're powered by, they could be powered by steam or coal or electricity, so they move a lot more easily, whereas these wooden boats were actually quite tricky to get moving, and they had to rely on the sail, so the wind a lot, and they weren't as sturdy, so if there was really bad weather or a storm, it could get quite scary on a wooden boat. But he did travel by boat, wooden boat, and he also traveled on these, I think they're called Chinese junk boats. So you can see it's fairly similar in the sense that there's lots of sails, but it has 3 sails instead of 1. So he did travel by different kinds of boats. Now, fun fact, did you know that Ibn actually got seasick and didn't like traveling by boat very much. Even though he didn't enjoy it because it made him very ill. Okay, so today we're going to have that's lots of information that I've told you about Aban. And if you want to listen to this video again so that you can hear it a second time, you're more than welcome to, or all the slides are uploaded to Teams. So you can download those and you can have a look at them again if you want to read it with an adult. Today, we're going to have a little activity that you can post to the assignment that I will put on Teams. And you can just upload a photo of what you've done. So you're going to get to do some drawing today and some writing if you choose. And what I've done is I've split a piece of paper in half. And on one side, you can see I have traveling in the Middle Ages. So that would be the time of Aban Battuta. And then traveling now. And we're going to compare today. We're going to think about the way that explorers traveled. So on this side of the paper where it says traveling in the Middle Ages, I want you to draw some pictures of some of the different ways that Aban would have traveled all around Africa when he did his journeys. So have a think, have a look back and see what we talked about. And you're going to draw some pictures and you're going to label those pictures. As a challenge, you can write some sentences about how he traveled. But we're looking on one side of the page, we want to see all the pictures of the different ways he traveled and label them. And then on the other side of the page, you're going to have a think about if you were traveling now. So we didn't talk about that as much. So you need to really think about what you know about traveling today. What are all the different ways that we can travel? And we have talked about it before in other lessons, but I've given you a little bit of help if you need it. So we've got two sides of our paper. We're going to put some pictures on one side of traveling in the Middle Ages and some pictures on the other side of traveling now to compare how they're different or maybe the same. And now I'm just going to share with you my teams if I can, so I can show you lovely where you would go. So remember, history is a foundation subject. So you're going to click on the side where it says foundation subjects. And then you're going to go to files, and I've put a new folder called history, and we're going to choose week 1, and you can download the slides if you like, or you can download the resources as a PDF. So if you have a printer at home, you're more than welcome to print this out. If not, you can just use a regular piece of paper and take a picture of it. So I have the traveling in the Middle Ages and traveling now. Now, what will be really helpful to you when you're doing this is I've also attached a word mat. So I've got lots of pictures of different ways that you could travel, both in the Middle Ages and now. And you can use that word mat, as a guide to help you with your drawings today. So you can get some ideas and you can find the names and the spellings of those different ways of traveling. So definitely go on Teams and find the word mat, because that's going to help you a lot when you're doing this activity. And that's what you'll be using at school to help you. So it's nice when you can use the same things. And then when you're done, you're going to take a picture and upload it to the foundation subject site. So right where you see, when you click on foundation, you can see it says science lesson. So as soon as I finish this video, I'm going to upload your new task, which is your history lesson. And you can just click on it and upload your picture like you have been doing with lots of other subjects. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson today. I know I certainly did. I love learning about explorers. We're going to have so much fun learning about them. And I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Aban Battuta, and we're going to learn more about him next week. So I will see you next week. Happy drawing. Bye.